Welcome back to Project Snow Beast, multiple playlist content creator generating machine. This happens to be for the 47 quick hitch snowblower, and we're going to continue putting that back together. It's getting in a full rebuild, or as full as I'm going to give it, which is new bearings and new chain and new everything it needed. And what I'm going to see right now is can I put this bearing in now that the shaft is already through, or do we have to mount this bearing and then try to fit the shaft into this with the whole auger assembly on it? So what I'm going to try is very carefully putting these original bolts in there. Possible impossibility trying to get your fat fingers in there. Talking about myself. Okay, yeah, I think we all could have saw that one coming. Bring it right back when I get my magnet. No magnet needed, it fell all the way through. Okay, now the question is, how many times do I need to do this to get it through there? Oh, look at that. Didn't even cut away, folks, just like the magicians on TV. Look at that. That's amazing. Can I get a like for that? Come on. Okay, here we go. Now let's see if I be very careful here. If I don't push one of them back, I should be able to make this happen. And the bearing halves just fell apart, but that's okay. We're okay. I got one of them started. Can I get the nut on one? Yeah. Second one. Should I get the bottom one next? Okay, I'm putting on my glasses. That's how serious this is getting. I'm aligning a bolt and two bearing halves. That one went. Oh, she's pushing back. Don't you push back. I literally have my fingernail on it. I'm going to keep pressure sideways. Nope, push back anyway. I'm just seeing if I can do it, because I really don't feel like taking that other half, the whole auger thing, out again. The answer may be no, I can't do it, but I'm really going to try. If you've been seeing the struggle I've had to get that front thing in and out, it actually goes back in easier without that support bracket on. Okay, I'm going to try to get this one started. Okay, now the bottom. Fingernail. If you don't have fingernails, you're not going to get this. And I think I just got this. Now these are carriage bolts, so I need to pull to make the square of the carriage, of the bolt head, keep in its hole. that was lucky, because that either might have worked or might not. That wasn't, you can't claim skill on something like that. Gotta pull it toward me. We got one. Get it a little more by hand. Yes. Yes. Super nice. Okay, and I just noticed that this bolt in my box here that I've been working out of looks like that. So let's see. Do I have a nut? Yes. Because it only has 2. And there's holes for 3. And that's why they didn't put the 3rd one in, because it's not lined up. There it goes. Just needed a little. Uh-oh. Found it. Probably not a good idea to work where there's leaves, but it's fall, so where are you going to find a spot like that right now? That one's spinning. That must not have a carriage bolt head on it. What size are you? Let's guess. I don't know. I think it's something in the metrics, now that I think about it. There we go. Good. 3 bolts in that. We still have this to put on, put the key, put the new chain, whichever way that was. And then we can adjust this. This has keyed bolts here with slots, and you can move the more chain tension, less chain tension. We'll have a brand new chain, so we'll put it pretty tight so it'll wear in just a little bit. We'll put it a little tighter than, where we would want it to run at. They don't stretch much, but I wouldn't doubt that they would loosen a hair while they break in. So we will put it a little past where we would normally tighten a chain that was used. But let's get the rest of the front auger put back together. Now that I've got this, and I know I don't have to take the auger back out to get this shaft through that bearing. All right, now let's see. So I just guessed on how wide this needed to be, this collar, and I'm well farther. There's a good sized gap here, so I'll have to see where everything lines up when we're all done here. I'm going to mount the bearing assembly first. It's at least got the end of the shaft grabbed, and then we'll have to take these collars loose and move the auger back and forth on either side, both one side, both side, whatever is required for that. So let's get this all figured out. Let's get this all lined up. Man, is that thing heavy. And it doesn't really want to come up easily. I'm going to get a jack and put it under there. It's just heavy enough with all this heavy cast iron and stuff. It's going to wrench my back before I get it lined up. Yes, the jack was definitely the right thing to get that to initially line up. And we're not as far off on the length as I thought we were. So, okay, I got all those bolts started. Now, I'm going to cinch these down, and then we can adjust the colors if I really deem that necessary. Nice. Okay, next thing is our rebent bracket. I don't know if it goes this way or if it goes this way, or if even it matters which way it goes. But if it does, we're going to figure that out too. And yes, I am working at sundown or after. Well, no, the sun's still blowing through the leaves a little bit there, but it's late. Later than I usually would work outside. Oh, how does that fit in there? It doesn't, that's how. That might be the way it goes. Now that's sticking up kind of far here. Oh, you can't see that. This part is sticking up kind of far. Was it like that? Let me see if those bolts will catch. If they do, that might be the right way. Yeah, they will catch. Now look at the top here. Let me look at the top. Oh yeah, we got this. Sometimes when you bend something back, maybe it won't line up perfect, or maybe it will. Why won't that nut start? There it goes. Good. Now I can work on down here. I got that side. Okay, I'll tighten these up, bring you back. Inside ones are tight, and the two top ones are tight for the brace. Before I get any farther, I'm going to remember that this needs a bearing collar. And I don't know if it has play in and out or not, but we need to lock it in place because we can't have it walking up and down because we're going to have a chain on here. All right, talking about chain. Just dropped my earbud again. Back with you. Back with you. Dropped the earbud again. I'm going to need to find the key. But let's see, does this need to be cleaned up a little bit inside? I think it does. Looks a little like it's been sitting out a while. Let's do that. And let me find that key and bring you back. Okay, I cleaned up the shaft a little bit. I'm going to end up putting this in last, the key. This barely makes it right here. Anyway, it really doesn't. You kind of got to tuck it under there and then put it down, I guess. Yeah. I guess I could have hollowed out the bore a little more. It wants to keep falling in the hole with the set screw. I'm a little bit misaligned. That's part of the trouble. Yeah. Shouldn't be hammering on that. Don't hammer on that. Okay, I think we got it. Ooh, I made a nice problem there. Let me fix up this key and bring it back. Now that key is not perfect. Boy, is that tight in there. I took a piece off that key, putting it in there like that. All right, I gotta go down quite a ways yet. I do not want to go too far. And that is borderline down too far already. Who knew? Boy, by eye, you couldn't tell. You could not tell. I'm going to bring that up just a little bit. Try to bring this up a little bit. I think that's just about perfect. We'll just double check that when we go to put the chain on, of course, which is now. Let me see. Does our chain come with a new master link? I hope the answer is yes. And the answer is maybe. What if I told you as of right now, I think this is a solid chain with no master that you could take off. Unless I find one. That's not good if that's true. Oh no! So this is a solid chain. It does not have a master link that just unclips. So that's a problem because I was putting it on everything together as if that's the way it went together. That is not the way it goes together. I thought we could just put the loose chain in there, have the other half coming out here, and then we'll make our link wherever it sits, and that is not going to happen. Plan B. Just thinking of different ways I can approach this. If I take this back off, that that's always a possibility, but okay. So what do we have here? We have a shaft with a rolled pin ran through it. And then this part could come off. If that came off, then this bearing half could come off. We could drop the bolts down through. Well, that is only one half of a bearing half. If we drop those down through, then what? We got a shaft sticking up. Would we have enough room? Do they have it cut out around so we could slip the chain around it? I don't know, but I think the thing to do is drive this pin out, get this shaft out of the way, and then see what happens when this comes up. Do we have a big hole there, or is this just as big as the slot is and it's not going to fit? The chain won't fit around. I'm going to have to figure this out. Got a pin punch here. Mine says 1/4 inch. Always get the biggest one that'll possibly fit. It's coming, but I think I should need a bigger hammer. And my pin punch is starting to get stuck. And we are going to change tactics here. We are going to use the next size down pin punch for the remaining bit because this is not working out. Oh, let me get that loose and I'll bring it back. There she goes. Rolled pin out. Tools back where they go. Okay, now what is it going to take to get this old shaft, this old collar off the shaft? Very little effort. That's what it's going to take. Wow. That was a beautiful thing right there. Needed that. Needed a small win just now. Thank you very much. Okay. Pull the tools around to where I need them. I think these are like metric. Everything's been seeming a little off on the US side, so I think they are metric. And let me pull that key out. There it goes. There, that's a half moon type. All right. Oh, this does have two halves. Silly me, of course it does. Will this come up? Pry bar, where'd you go? Found it. Yeah. That's been on there a while. These bearings I'm not planning on replacing. I wasn't, because they don't need to be taken apart. Now they look at it, it kind of walks around a little bit. That's funny. Like that shaft is bent. How would that ever have gotten bent? Whew, that's tight. That's tight on there. Sometimes giving it a little shock will make a big difference. But I'm pulling on the outside of the bearing and expecting the inside to roll. Not easily, it won't. I'm going to be up for some new bearings before I get done beating this thing out of here. I can bet on that. Did it move a little? I'd like to think it did. Yep, I just hit the bearing cage there. So we're committed to bearing now. So I guess it doesn't matter if we get a little rough with it. Not working. At this point, I'm almost wondering if I should have just got a brand new. If I should have just got a chain breaker, broke that chain, and put a master link in it. I really didn't want to do it because they might have a reason why. Maybe these things fly apart. I don't know. But too late. So one of the options that I had up until the time I just messed up that bearing cage is I could have got a chain breaker, got a master link, broke the chain open, and done it. You can choose to do that on yours. You have the benefit of my mistakes to look at. You can see there's water in there. I don't think that would have a plastic bearing cage. Wow. I'm going to give that a minute before it squirts out some boiling hot something. Getting some good grease coming out of there now. I just don't want to mushroom this head over too far, so I'm hitting it with a very small hammer. Now I'm underneath the bearing better. If I get a bearing puller on the outside here, I think I'll just fold that bearing holder in. I don't think I'll really have much chance of making a good pull on it. This isn't really designed for a puller because it doesn't have a hole in the middle either, which tells you it's not, shouldn't be needed. I got it to move a little bit. I went and hit it back down, put a pin punch right on the corner there, and hit it back down. So it is moving a little bit. There she goes. Wow. Yeah, glad I got that part on camera. And it probably stopped there because that's where I mushroomed the head off it. Probably mushroomed it. Now that everything's red hot, you can't just pull on it. Barehanded anyway. Yeah, most likely I got that mushroomed over. So I'll take a grinder, grind that shaft a little bit. Get that down out of our way. Now that it's free as a bird. 1 minute it's stuck, you can't even hammer it, and the next minute it falls up and down. Ground it a little there. See if that'll be enough. And today, that'll be enough. Okay, more hot stuff probably. Oh, look at that, folks. There's room around there enough that a guy could put a chain through there. You don't say. Maybe that's just enough, I think. Ooh, that's hot. That shaft is just burning yet. Everything's so hot. Trying to just coax that chain down through there. Over here you got plenty of room. Down here you have less room. Interesting. Yes. Now, is this a thing or am I going to have to walk this on? If I loosen this adjuster, that'll give me more play. But I think I have enough adjustment there. Yeah. Oh, yep. So we'll have to move this over to... No, we won't. I'm just on the bearing collar here. I am not on the gear. Okay. Let me adjust this. Let me get this loose. There's no way we'll get a chain to go on like a belt does. I will loosen this. We'll bring that over as far as humanly possible to get us the most slack we can get. Oh, can't really get those. Not with that tool. Okay. Yeah, probably have to hammer it to slide it. Pry bar to slide it. That'll slide it. Okay. Let me put it on my small gear first. And then the gear that I can see better over here, I'll put on last. Is it just binding? There it goes. Ooh, that's pretty good. That'll do it. No sense tightening it yet because the bearing was what, this thing is what centers it. And now we need a new bearing. So for today, I have to stop doing what I'm doing here because I don't have a new bearing. I wasn't planning on needing that bearing. So for me, stops here for a couple days. For you, a few seconds. I have had a revelation. And the revelation includes this bearing, which as I went to clean up the other night, I quickly realized that I bought 4 bearings and I only needed 4 bearings. So apparently I did have enough. I just didn't remember buying the one for this, but I don't know if that was going to be a spare or whatever. I don't remember intentionally going out and getting that 4th bearing. But I'm going to get everything set here. If I didn't explain what these are eccentric locking collars for the bearing. And it's a little bit, the word eccentric, it's a little bit off round. And what it allows you to do is if you got a shaft in here, and this is going to be spinning, making something that's holding this, this will take up the friction in between those two surfaces. Well, if this bearing got sticky, it would just start turning and start whittling down the shaft. To make that a positive engagement on the shaft, you put one of these eccentric locking collars on there, and as you put it on the shaft, you tighten this in the direction of rotation and then lock it down, and it locks the shaft to that inner race to keep it in motion all the time. If you just put the bearing just raw, it would probably work, but if ever something was wrong with any of these bearings, potentially the bearing could be standing still and the shaft moving inside it, then whittling down your shaft. And you don't ever want to do that because the shaft is usually the expensive part of the impossible to replace part. So these all have to be gone through, well, technically, all have to be gone through when I get them all where I want them, lock them down, and then they're good on the front ones that I've already done. The left and the right side, that is. And also the one behind here, but now I can't get to that, so we're just going to say that one's locked in its perfect position. Of course it is. So I still got a locking ring here from before. The only hard part might be I'll have to turn this maybe, because whenever you get it locked, then maybe this thing's facing an undesirable way. So then you turn it to get to where you can get at it. So let's figure out what size we were dealing with here. So much nicer when you already have all your tools out, but the other night I just didn't have it in me. It was already dark, but I mean, I had nothing left. Yeah, see now, the problem is I have this thing flipped, so it's sitting down on the auger, so I can't really spin that. Might have to tip it. Yeah, I don't think I can get it right now. Okay, bring it back. Alright, I got it facing out. And I'm just going to replace this collar, because then I got a nice new, not stripped Allen head bolt to get onto. Come on off there. That won't. I'm gonna get that pry bar I had the other day. Can't really get a good lift on it. Let me just make sure I got this Allen backed out enough. Whoa. When it goes, it goes. Okay, good. Now I can put the fresh collar on there. And then this collar, of course, on the bearing will face down into that. But I probably have to put them on at the same time because they start locking quick. Right now it doesn't lock because it's not got a shaft to pry off of. Why is that not wanting to go? Feels like there's a burr there. Okay, it goes by itself. And the bearing goes by itself, but not together. There they go. Good. All right. I have no idea in which direction that's facing right now. And let me see. This goes in last. Okay. There was 3 bolts for that. Three short bolts. Where'd the 3 short bolts go? These aren't short bolts. Bring you back when I get them. Ah! Drop the first one. Let's see if we can do the same thing. Think I see it. Nope. Similar. Or no, that's one of them that is the one. One of these didn't have the carriage type. No, that's not the one. There's the carriage type bolts. That was a spare bolt. I'm going to use for as many as I have here, which is 2. And then I had a standard bolt for the 3rd. Usually you can get them to catch without the squares on them. I'll tie this down first before I even try to go for that collar. And the reason being that kind of sets how tall it's going to be. Don't you lose that key. I just saw that thing dance off of there. There it is. Okay, now I've got to get lined up. I've got to twist that shaft collar. Feels like it already grabbed. I'm going to try to get it loose though, and then go for tightening it a little more, and then I'll lock down that set screw. All right, I got it turned just right there, and you can see that the Allen screw is facing us. And I don't think it's going to be able to back off. You couldn't really move it up and down because I think the distance is kind of set between, the width of that is the exact same width as you have in there. So it's not really going to be adjustable up and down much anyway. Okay. Got that one tight. Now let's do these guys. Some wrench fits perfectly on there. And I hope it's 7/16, but it's probably a little less than that, but that's fine. We'll get it. This one locks through the key into the shaft. And the other one just locks onto the shaft. There we go. Nice. Now I'm going to tension that chain. I think we can move over a bit. And on a chain, there's not a lot of distance between perfectly tight and way too loose. And those I remember I had to get with the wrench. Oh yeah, we're looking good. Perfect. Oh yeah. That's probably tighter than it should be, but that's what we're going with today. Okay, now we want our half moon key. It's kind of washing out the shot a little bit. Let me go with the little dimmer. There we go. Probably a little better. Maybe even over here. Nah, kind of in the shot. Look at that. I'm working for you over here, folks. See if that's in far enough. Line up my key. Yep. Have to go down farther. I think that key is still seating inwards. Yeah, there it goes. Not there yet. Yep. Nice. All right, I think we got everything here done except for readjusting the bearing collars on those two bearings, which I'm going to do in just a few minutes here once I get it complete. I thought I heard something. Hold on. Something rustling the leaves. What? What? Project Snow Beast? Is that you? It is. Are you here for a reason? Do you want something? Are you missing something? You are? Well, what could that be? You're looking for the reason why we call you Project Snow Beast? Okay. I guess we'll have to put your implement back on. Update on Project Snow Beast. Had some early season snow and a couple times early season snow. And it was very hungry. So hungry, as you can see by yellow marks and a broken off landscaping rock. I was trying to help out a neighbor. I was going for what I thought was a big snow pile beside the driveway. And it decided to eat his landscaping rocks. So what that means to me is it's a darn good thing I had got the shear pins, the bar loose from the flights, because as you can see, there's the piece that stays put, and I'm rotating that with my hand here. I've sheared off that shear key, and you see how it just spins and the other part is staying still? That's how it's supposed to work, and it's supposed to go that nice. I sheared off that one and that one at the same time. This one here is still intact. I didn't hit that side, but it somehow jammed this one and that one. So I may even find an additional rock back in the chute that throws it up. But wow, what a surprise, and what a noise that made when it was grinding on that rock. This one here was grinding along it. But it works absolutely excellent. It definitely has all the power you need. We got about, I don't know, that's not really much of a measurement, but 3/4 of the way up there, so almost a foot at one time. And this thing at 47 inches wide just went through it like nothing. It was beautiful. It's not nearly as good for small light snow. I was finding it was pushing a little bit when I got a little bit of snow. If I was to get like the amount that's there right now, this was all packed in and I just dug it out. But if I was to get like 1 inch or 2 inches, what it was doing is if there was any ice with that, it was kind of pushing it. It wasn't really getting up into the chute like I wanted it to. So that was something for a small snow. It wasn't really as good. It was still scraping it okay, but it really wouldn't pick it up proper. But yeah, so thank God I took the time, got those shear pins, got those rods cleaned up, because it probably saved my gearbox from blowing out completely. So now I just got to put a couple bolts. These are 1/4 20x1 standard bolts. I think they did that, even though the rest of the machine is mostly metric. I think they did that just so it's easy to find, a 1/4 20 bolt that anyone would have in their garage or stock house. So that's the update. Let's put it back to work with a couple new shear pins. And just for somebody that hasn't dealt with shear pins before, all it is, you're just putting a bolt through there. So you're just tying 2 points together. The driven point, which is this piece that my thumb is on, and the point that drives. That's the point that drives. This is the driven point, I guess you'd say. So all I'm going to do is make it look like that side. There's one bolt through there. That's it. So we're going to do it the same way from the inside to the out. I don't know if it really matters. It's hard to do while you're trying to line two things up with one hand. Try to get it around the back so you can see where I'm going. Got the bolt in my hand there. It's really hard to find where it goes through the camera. There we go. Now it's sticking out the other side. Put a nut on that, you're done. You don't tighten it down crazy tight. It's just being used as something to spin it with. You're not really worried about the clamping force there. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't want that to rust into that and make it so it doesn't shear. So if you left it a hair loose, you'd probably be okay. I noticed the other side was that way.